Hello, everybody, and I'm here to say, if you are a kid, stay the fuck away. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a read of Lyre. I'm your host, Will, and as always, we have. Thank you.
Actually, no. Thy shall address for me. Introduce me for me.
Okay. This is the fucking dumbass Pikamain that has his birthday literally today when we're recording this. There, is that a good introduction, Pikamain?
Good enough.
And as always, we have Miss May.
Hello.
Meowdy. New year, new microphone. I hope that the microphone shows improvement. And what a fantastic way to start the year by going to Adrius's POV. I am so happy about this statement that I've just made.
Perfect time to test out your new mic. By the
Yes.
way, yeah. By the way, is it connected to the OBS?
It is connected to the OBS. I checked.
Okay. Because it has happened to me before.
Well,
It is?
you see, some of us are better at that than others, Pikamain.
Uh-huh.
Points.
Is that why you could keep the job?
Huh?
No, never mind. That would be to me. Never mind.
I don't think my job had anything to do with OBS, dumbass. And also, who's here had to re-record the first episode of Xinye 5 times?
I mean, you had to re-record a few times too.
Once. Or twice.
No.
Once or
May,
twice.
did we have to re-record once?
We had to
I
record
remember
3 times.
one episode that we had to record 3 times.
Yes, 3. It's not as bad as 5. Anyway, we have spent 2 minutes bickering.
then-
Let's continue.
I have not bickered once that entire time, thank you.
Thank you, May, for being the reasonable one of the group. Anyway. I hate you, Adrius. Chilly draft settles on the ground beneath Adrius's hooves. The entire throne room is thick with silence. The sense is so strong that one could possibly hear their own thoughts echoing off the halls. Adrius leans into the throne, a great hunk of wood standing tall in the mass of ground beneath it. Real guards, clad in snowy white cloaks, line the steps up to the tree like a chair, each facing forward, light bouncing off of their armor. Elizabeth and Leaf are positioned on each side of the throne. Liz is on the right, sitting on a small chair placed on the step. He's looking at the ground, deeply lost in thought. Leaf stands off to his left, his arms behind his back, rocking back and forth on his taloned feet nervously. The bird was always skittish, but what happened this morning has left him more on edge than usual. Adrius drums his hard fingertips on the arm of the throne, his patience straining by the minute. I thought he already was in our custody. Liz looks up from the ground and straightens her posture, glancing in Adrius's direction before responding.
I'm sure they will be here any moment now. You have to remember they're not here to be put on trial. The position they've been put in because of this situation. They've been put between the hammer and the anvil, so to speak.
Respectfully, Elizabeth, I don't see it that way. They may not have been caught at the scene of my father's murder, but I feel like they're just trying as hard to drag this kingdom into the ground.
I'm happy to be. I like Leaf.
I know you like Leaf.
But I also forgot Leaf.
Good job.
Hold on. You're mad.
Dear God. What the fuck?
Even I could tell that was wrong.
I've been sick.
Oh my God, same bestie.
Your Majesty, I'm afraid I must agree with Minister Renee.
Leaf tiptoes forward a bit, trying his best to keep eye contact, but constantly glancing around the room.
I can picture it. So fucking cute. Tiptoe. Sorry.
In my experience dealing with him, he only seemed to be a bit eccentric.
Damn, you really added that deal in there. Making Leaf not like them. Then explain to me why you would try something so rash.
I can't explain that. That is something I am unable to gauge. Don't worry. But don't worry. We're going to find out.
I always thought it was pronounced gauge.
Oh, fuck. Is it
Probably.
gauge or gouache?
Okay, gauge.
Fuck.
Gauge is like the medical thing. Gauge is like the thing you wanted to say.
I think when I looked at it, my brain instantly went to gouache. Gouache as in paint.
That's gouache. Shh. Gouache.
Gouache. Gouache. That's how we say it in Swedish.
Same. Gouache. Anyway, Arius takes a deep breath and slumps into the large chair. The fact that he would attempt something.
I thought you said electric chair.
Why the fuck would I add the electric? I mean,
No, that's what I heard.
it's something I wish you would do, but let's ignore that. That's a lie. I don't wish for death. The fact that he would attempt something like this, everything adds up, but it's still so unpredictable. Not only that, but it could ruin everything.
My only concern is that finding out might open up more problems.
Even if it doesn't, more problems are sure to come our way regardless.
I hope to.
Liz starts to respond, but she looks in the direction of the large doorway as faint footsteps can be heard approaching. Ah, good. Arius stands from the throne and watches two castle guards walk in, their faces stoic. Cat they're escorting, however, looks less than pleased. Even with his slightly annoyed face, Lord Kadaj walks confidently down the hall, following behind the two guards as a few of Kadaj's own Drizian guards follow behind them. Castle guards stop the Drizian guards from approaching any further as the cat makes his way up the hall. Kadaj stops a short distance from the steps up to the throne and throws himself into a bow, looking up at others and rising from his lowered position. I had not thought to be summoned so abruptly. But when the gods insisted, well, I guess I had no choice. Your Majesty, was there something else that you needed from me? Arius toys with his gloves and looks down at Kadash with a cocked eyebrow. Was there something I had already requested of you, my lord? Well, I scarcely had the luxury of freedom. Being able to go wherever I please and do as I like. I only assume that there's more restrictions you'd like to put in place. So terribly sorry for the inconvenience, but as you know, we'll be needing you in the next couple of days. Especially considering your role in all this. That's the least of our... By the way, I'm so glad you decided to bring up the topic. It really does beg the question. Aegeus gestures to the southern fucking stop clogging up my nose. Yeah. Aegeus gestures to the southern window. Why are you trying to leave? Words echo throughout the hall, rising up to the ceiling like heat in a cold room. That begs the question of how many flies you have listening in on my private conversations. Kadash says this with a bit of fuck. Kadash says this with a bit of levity, but nobody else is humored. Coughs and raises his paw in the air. I wasn't trying to leave before the trial, if that's what you were thinking. No. I'll give you the assumption you could leave at all. Kadash's shoulders rise a bit, hearing this. It just seems that someone decided to slack your leash a bit too much. It'll become very tiring having to rely on my close advisors at times as troubling as these. A close advisor who is also suspect, as you know. According to your dogs, at least. I just clenches his fist, but his face stays calm. You don't need to remind me, cat. Kadash continues. Being a suspect, I am not much help in an investigation aside from answering the questions thrown my way. My next contribution will, of course, take place in 4 days from now. Liz leans forward in her seat, her chin resting on fuck! Liz leans forward in her seat, her chin resting on a balled fist.
What is the point you are trying to make?
That shifts his weight to his other leg, looking up at Audrius, large green eyes piercing his own with a feeling Audrius can't quite describe. I would think that reeling me in wouldn't be in your list of priorities. If you wish to take me on as a witness, I will be here, but right now my usefulness seems to have run its course. At least not until the trial. Edis sits back down, running his hands along the arms of the chair impatiently.
So,
Fuck, sorry.
Jesus
I
Christ.
dropped I dropped my dice and I became sorry.
so you claim you were only making plans to leave after the trial?
In a way, yes.
Whether you departed now or later doesn't matter. Even leaving after the trial still goes against our agreement with Dries. You understand this, do you not?
Of course I do. Dash leans his head to the side, looking down at the ground with theatrical guilt plaster on his face. If it helps clear things up, I only wanted to be sure such options would be open to me when the time came. Then I was going to bring the proposition to you, Your Highness. Kadash gestures to Adrius, who rises in a seat. That is a very peculiar story. Peculiar, yet true. That is one thing people never expect from me, but I tell the truth quite a lot. To me, it doesn't make much sense to make such a proposal without first knowing whether my retainers would be able to make the journey so soon.
I'm sure all of us have figured it out, but just to be clear, what is this proposal?
Liz smooths out her robes and straightens her posture, as if to let Kadash know that he has her full, undivided attention. I know that contract with Erin and my own kingdom has already been attempted. I feel that it won't be enough to cool the flames, even after this business is settled with our unfortunate Iranian lord. Let's forward a bit. I just can't help but be intrigued by what he had planned. He knows that he can't be trusted entirely, but thinking about this cat strikes his curiosity. Kadash tries to continue with his plea. Commotion can be heard coming from up the hallway. The racket gets louder and everyone stands and turns towards the entrance. Guards at the door stand at the ready, while 2 of them go out into the hall. When they return, a few more guards and 2 members of the Royal Guard enter. One of them is Finn, the eagle who usually gets assigned with Bjorn. The other one looks to be worse for wear, arms slug around Finn's shoulder for support. His cape is ripped and armor scuffed and scratched. I just quickly realizes that it's Lyre. His face is warped in bandages, with one of his eyes covered up. One would be surprised if he could even speak with the amount of bandages wrapped around his snout. Seems to be able to walk easily, but his head slumping down into the fur around his neck shows that he's not entirely with it.
Lyle!
Leaf scuttles down and steps up to the throne, making his way over to Lyre. Lyre pats Finn on the chest, and Finn lets Lyle's arm off his shoulder, backing away cautiously and allowing Lyle to steady himself.
What happened?
Good God. Leif is practically running circles around Lyle, checking him, then making him bend down so he can get a good look at his face.
Oh my! Your wounds look terrible! These, bandages look awful too.
I'm fine.
Leif looks up at Fane.
How did this happen to him?
Lyle blushes and looks at the ground, and others can tell if it's from embarrassment or all the commotion Leif is causing. Wolf looks exhausted, enough to make Adris's concern almost match his curiosity. Who was Finn?
Who was Finn?
I think you, because I'm Bjorn.
Not me, smile.
A villager told me at the gates the... Fuck.
A villager told
A
me at the
villager.
gates to fuck.
Fuck off. Shut up.
A villager found me at the gates of the castle and told me that Björn was attacking the captain in the markets.
I don't know if that got picked up.
It did.
I quickly grabbed as many castle guards nearby as I could, and we made our way into the village. When we got there, Reed had been beaten to a bloody mess, and Björn was laying on top of him, unconscious. Reed was barely conscious, holding together the best he could. A few guards asked around, and the town folks said Reed was acting in self-defense. One villager said he went for a less violent approach, and once he did, it was over before they knew it. Björn's fists were covered in blood, and there wasn't a scratch on him. Why did he pass out then? We don't really know for sure. He's currently being taken to the infirmary. It could be his chest pains again. If it got worse, it could have been what caused him to pass out.
Leif turns to Adrius.
You see, he's been a bit ill lately.
Adrius points to one of the castle guards. You there! I need to go with Leif to the infirmary so you can check on Sir Bjorn. Come back once he no longer needs your services. Leif walks up to Finn, the eagle towering over him.
Are Lyle's injuries truly as grave as they look? Or was it just a bit too much bandages from someone hoping to be a field doctor one day?
He slowly pans his head in the direction of the other guards as a few of them try to avoid eye contact.
He was all bruised up and bleeding. It looked like he got punched a few times in the sniffer. One of his eyes was a bit swollen, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't horribly damaged.
Lyle tries to speak up, each word coming out slowly and a bit slurred. Bandages around the snout don't help either, acting almost as a muzzle.
I can still see.
Leif beckons Lyle to bend down so that he can inspect him. Bert lightly clasps his face between his gloved wings and slightly lifts the patch on top of Lyle's eye.
Your eye looks like it will be fine with proper treatment. Just got all swollen from being punched so many times.
Leif throws his wings into the air in exasperation.
Was the blood even properly cleaned? Heavens!
He just sinks into his seat, letting out a loud sigh.
No, I shouldn't judge. It's a good temporary treatment. Nevertheless,
Leaf breaks into a small run towards the door, sprinting backwards and calling out to Finn.
make sure we have Lyre brought to me as soon as possible. Of course.
The guard that Adrius addressed runs after Leaf, following the small bird out into the hall. Lyle casts his paws to his face, rubbing the side of his head.
Lyle, how are you feeling? Do you remember what happened?
Kadaj is now sitting on the steps leading up to the throne, holding his tail between his paws. Lyle attempts to respond, but the bandages around his face make it difficult to get even a single word out. He grabs the bandages around his muzzle and stretches them out, allowing him to move his jaw easier. Finn makes a hasty motion to stop him from hurting himself, but he finishes messing with the wraps and continues speaking.
I'll be getting new ones in a bit anyway. To answer your question, I feel fine. I've been through worse.
He moves his jaw around uncomfortably while speaking, as if setting it back into place. Oh, he has to do what I do now.
Nom.
Adrius looks at him, eyebrow raised. He knows that Lyle's had worse happen to him. Still, his pain tolerance must be pretty high. Can't help but remember when he was a young prince and Lyle was just a squire. He had to wear that eye patch for a whole week after getting back from... I don't care about any of that. What really happened in the market? Well, of course, slightly, yet still tries to answer the question.
Well, Bjorn attacked me because... Hold on. Everything is a bit fuzzy.
Just try to start over from the beginning.
Lyle looks around the room, thinking to himself. In a few moments, he shakes his head in disappointment.
I'm sorry. I can't really remember much of what happened.
Thank you, Bjorn, for making Lyle forget about that little bit of piece of evidence.
Just feelings and emotions. Everything's a blur.
Do you remember when we talked earlier?
A little bit, yeah. I remember most of that, actually.
Adrius looks in Liz's direction. When did you two talk?
When I went outside earlier.
Adrius looks back over to Lyle, gesturing with his hand. What feelings do you remember? Lyle contemplates this for a moment, then answers.
Anger.
I'd be angry too if someone did that to me. He looks down at the ground in shame.
I remember I was winning. I didn't want to hurt him.
Is that why you lost?
Possibly.
Adrius leans forward in his seat, placing his elbows and thighs and looking down at Lyle. Yes, well, I thank you for not butchering one of your guards. Adrius knows Lyle would have easily won a duel between Bjorn if he truly was out for blood. Bjorn is most definitely to blame for this fight, but why would he do it? I'm sure your recollection of the events will come back in due time. Most likely at your own convenience. Not knowing what or why this happened is truly what bothers Adrius. Bjorn's prone to violence, but not without his twisted reason. The idea that he would lash out. Maybe he knows something Adrius doesn't. He thinks to himself for a few seconds before Liz speaks up.
Yes, let's hope for a full recovery on both ends. Bjorn will be punished accordingly once he awakes from his hibernation, if all holds true.
Adrius nods his head. A member of the Royal Guard causing such chaos needs to be handled with care. No punishment at all is out of the question. You're free to go, dog. Go and go. Have Leaf fix you up. You can't have you looking like that on the day of the trial.
Adrius.
Adrius holds up a hand, silencing her. Next time, don't lose the fight so easily. A dog who can't keep his subordinates in check doesn't really inspire.
Uh-huh.
Lyre motions to leave in a huff, and as he's walking out, Adrius rises from the throne. Better yet, I want you wearing that helmet of yours on the day of the trial. Cover up the bruises and whatnot. You can't have your lover seeing you like that.
Adrius.
Set a good example for the royal guard for once! Lyle's already leaving the hall, followed by Finn and a few castle guards still remaining. Dash's guards also follow behind and stand by the door. What a show. Liz turns around in her chair, looking at Adrius with disgust in her eyes. Makes his stomach lurch, but he resolves to show no emotion.
Must you be so harsh to him?
Adrius points at the doorway and gestures to the remaining royal guards in the hall. Don't question me in front of them again. You understand. There's a look of shock on her face for only a moment before she quietly backs down. Fist is tightly clenched, but Adrius doesn't notice.
Yes.
He almost hated saying that, but he can't let her assume that he can be scolded like a child. The more problems Lyre and the rest of them cause, the more his disdain from them grows. Adrius leans back in his chair, his gaze falling upon Kadaj. You'll have to forgive them for the slight interruption. Nothing like that has happened in a long time. It's all right. When I saw what had happened to the captain, I had feared the worst.
Why don't we continue from where we left off? What was the proposal you were planning on making?
Ah, yes. I understand that you've already tried to make contact with the race. I'm afraid that it won't be enough, however. So, what is it that you want? Send me instead. At the end of the trial, I'll leave the city and make for the race. Can then speak with King Aran personally. Clear all of this mess up and then return once the flames have settled. As your recently appointed Minister of Foreign Relations, I believe this to be the best outcome. Adrius lets out a quick laugh. How could we possibly be sure that you would return? There are two very simple reasons. Having spent quite a while there recently, I'm sure Minister Rene can personally confirm that us Drisians are very true to our word. Promise means a lot to us. Adrius looks to Liz, who begrudgingly nods her head. I'm sure you're also aware of the other reason. That being, I am not just faithful to one kingdom. Adrius rolls his eyes. Your faith in both Lyre and Draze is expected. Close, but that's not what I meant. I put my faith in all of the kingdoms. I serve Tigran, not just the kingdom I'm currently helping. Kadash takes a step up the stairs. Now, do you understand? I wasn't chosen to come here by some king. I volunteered. Lyre's reconnection with Dries and Erin is paramount if this kingdom was just to heal the wounds that have been placed upon it. Those last words caused something inside of Adrius to break. Looks the cat in the eyes, as if his gaze could pierce the back of the feline's head. Reconnection. Cooperation. Kadash nods his head. Yes, I'm sure that there are plenty of reasons why that could be beneficial. Powerful and advanced kingdom of Dries exports many valuables. Gold, so plentiful that it covers the desert's shimmering sands. Salt, that precious mineral that preserves our meats. Not only that, but it helps with the flavor too. Wouldn't you agree? Kadash furrows his brow. I suppose. Stone, granite, materials as sturdy as their people. He shoves his hands along the arm of the throne. I'd like to know another pair of experts more common than this prior. His face shakes a bit as he raises his tone. Weak-willed rulers incapable or unwilling to solve the problems they create of bandits who travel this world stripping everything good from it. Excuse me. That is not the case. Wars have been started over words less blunt than yours. Your father heard you say such things. He can't, and I'm afraid he never will. Neither will my mother. I find myself sitting alone in a court meant for many. My meals are quiet and cold, devoid of motherly concern or fatherly pride. My castle and kingdom goes unchanged without my direct influence. Between your absolute inability to solve even the most basic of issues and allowing your bandits and bargigans to take my mother, as well as the exceptionally exceptional diplomat for Erin conniving and conspiring to steal my father, I find myself utterly alone in this throne. As for war, what have we to fear for your martial might? You're incapable of disbanding barely armed peasants who would scatter like fleas if a real army descended upon them. My father offered what little assistance he could, but it sadly wasn't enough. It seems both parties were incapable of ridding the world of this pest. That I just interrupts him once more, continuing with his rant. I think you'll find my forces far more up to the task of combat while under my guidance. We'll see what happens when 5,000 trained soldiers smoke out that rat's nest. Ash lets out a small laugh, which can barely be heard under his breath. There's an idea. Maybe it'll solve our problem and clear the canyon. Maybe I'll solve our problem and clear the canyons myself. But Ash's tail swishes side to side anxiously as he speaks up. Where are you going with all of this? If you expect me to fight you on this subject, you're mistaken. Although I must strongly advise against causing tension between Dries and Lyre. Oh, don't worry. This is all purely hypothetical. I would never be doing such things without consulting my loyal Minister of War. Turns to Liz as he says this, her brow furrowed and face filled with concern, yet still maintaining to muster a weak smile. He returns his gaze back to Kadaj. I'm merely calling out the weakness of your kingdom. You understand what I'm saying, correct? The healing of wounds left on this kingdom is inevitable, while Dries and Erin continue to let their own wounds fester. It's as if they have much more important things to worry about. Edger swings his legs to the side, reclining into his seat further. I can assure you I will bring peace to this kingdom if it's the last thing I do. Hi, Kadaj. Love you, anyway.
You.
Huh? What'd you say?
Hello.
I'm Kadaj. What the fuck? Kadaj gives a worried yet determined look, his eyes glinting in the light from outside. Do as
That
you
is a
wish.
perfect.
Hmm?
That is a perfect CG to do some funny edits on.
Oh boy. There, take your screenshot. There.
No, I'm too tired and lazy.
Do as you wish, Your Highness. But what is your verdict on my
Okay.
proposal? Arya sits on the throne silently, thinking to
I mean,
himself.
Kadash seems to be. Kadash seems to be approving.
Letting the cat leave after the trial could serve to be useful. It depends on how things turn out in the end. Very well. You want to return home so badly? If all goes well with this trial, you may do so. Dash looks up, his ears rising. I have your word? Yes. Very well. The cat bows slightly. You're dismissed. We'll speak of this later if all goes according to plan. Dash gives another bow in both Elizabeth's and Audrey's direction. Minister, Your Majesty, I await the next chance we can speak of this matter. And I wait the chance to get to another episode.
Yay.
Yippee! Didn't you guys have so
Wee.
many lines in this part of the recording? Aren't you glad that I made you wait until 11 p.m. to record?
I'm
Yippee.
so glad I was here for this, guys.
Yes, I was. I was. Yes, I felt very important.
Yep. You sure did. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this episode of A Read of Lyre, and if you did, like, comment, and subscribe. They didn't do things in any order. I don't really mind. And if the content on my channel wasn't enough to satisfy, you can go over to Pikamain's channel.
Oh yeah. I do. I also do stuff. Sorry, I've been on vacation.
You're still on vacation.
No, I'm getting back into
Right.
stuff. Currently working on a video.
Yep. The brain has to readjust itself back into the position. Anyway,
What brain?
exactly. Pikamain does voice impressions and also other videos like this. So if you want to continue hearing my stupid, ugly ass voice, you can go over to his channel for that. And May is here.
Hi.
Only. Hello.
I exist.
You sure do, and we love you for that. Anyway, with that all out of the way, I hope that I get to see you on the next episode. But even if I don't, I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye bye, gay people.
Oh my
Bye.
god! Bye.
Quack.